So today, I was going a little bit too fast in the alley, and Baruch Hashem, it wasn't a good idea. Baruch Hashem, nothing happened, except for a little fender bender. Someone else was also going too fast in the alley, pulling out from a parked area, and it was his fault. He T-boned me, I think. Could be it was my fault a little bit. I mean, definitely was my fault a little bit. I was also going too fast.
You were on the alley.
I was in the alley.
That's your fault.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem. So thank you for saying that. Anyways, that's my point. My point is this: someone was in a fight with someone else, and the Rebbe writes this person like this. He says, "I heard you got in a fight with someone, and according to what I heard," the Rebbe said, "you this person approached you and asked you to forgive him, and you didn't respond. You didn't respond. So, in general, I want to draw your attention," the Rebbe writes, "to halacha. Halacha says it's truly unnecessary," the Rebbe writes, "to draw your attention to the halacha that if someone shamed you and they ask you for forgiveness, you're supposed to forgive them. Especially the way chassidus explains the value of forgiveness. That's true in general, but especially this time of the year in the month of Elul. In the month of Elul, we got any French fries for Joseph over here? Okay, good. Especially in the month of Elul. The month of Elul is a month of calculation, a month of accounting. We're supposed to look at all our thoughts and our words and our actions throughout the year. And we're supposed to just figure out if they're the way they're meant to be. And we always discover that that's not perfect. So what do? We go to the King of all kings, to go to Hashem. We say to Hashem, "Hey, I made this mistake, I made that mistake, forgive me." We ask Hashem to forgive, not just to forgive us. We ask Hashem that whatever mistake we made, it shouldn't leave a trace. It shouldn't be a trace of this mistake on our record. It should completely forgive us. So, even more, we ask Hashem, as it says in Tanya, that we should be just like if someone sinned against the king, he gives gifts to the king. So not only should he be officially forgiven, but he should be as beloved to the king as before he made this mistake. We're asking Hashem not just to forgive us, not just not to punish us, but we should be beloved to him as if nothing ever happened, as if we're the same way as it was before. So Rebbe said, if that's what we're trying to do, so we need to think about something. We need to think about how when we ask Hashem to forgive us, so if we're doing the opposite, or we're asking Hashem to do, is going to impact our request. If someone's wronged us, and we are going to not forgive the person who's wronged us, at the same time we're asking Hashem to forgive us, it's going to adversely affect our request. It's not going to, and especially, it says, think about the stakes over here, the comparison. You're just a human being. The person who's wronged you is also a human being. So, and yet the Torah says you should forgive them, but when you're talking about the mistakes made against Hashem, it's a whole different kind of thing. You're going against the truth. You're going against the whole purpose of why you're here in the world. And yet, you say to Hashem, "I want you to forgive me." So if you can't forgive another person who has wronged you, you have to ask yourself if that's going to affect your request from Hashem that He should forgive you. So it's, Rebbe concludes the letter. I hope what I heard wasn't accurate, and hope you did forgive the person who wronged you. But nevertheless, if it's true, I want you to consider this and tell me good news about this. That you guys have reconciled and gotten along. So, two wrongs don't make a right, as I learned this morning. I went down the alley too fast, and it didn't. The guy made a mistake too, but yeah, it wasn't worth it. So, I'm mentioning this because as we're praying for the new year, we want to be poised to have the best Elul ever, because the way Elul goes is the way the whole year goes. And if we're poised to have the best kind of month, then that causes the whole year to be the way it's meant to be. So how do we have the best Elul? What's the number one thing we have to do to put in our Elul to be our best, to be our greatest? Different ways of defining greatest. Some people say greatest has to do with wisdom. In the town of Dvinsk, there were two rabbis. There was a Rogatchover Goyen, and there was the Ur Sameach. They were the all-star rabbis, world-renowned rabbis, each of them in their own right. And two people were discussing once which rabbi is a greater rabbi. And one of them said, the greater rabbi is the Rogachover. The Rogachover going, he's a greater rabbi. The other guy says, no. I saw that the Ursa Meach was taller than the Rogachover. Rogachover was short. He was taller. He is bigger. So how do we define bigger? What does bigger mean? What's a yardstick we're using to define greatness? We're supposed to become our best this month, our greatest this month. How do you define greatness? So let's analyze this from something, this week's Torah portion. This week's Torah portion talks about the punishment to various sins is whipping. Torah says when a person does these various things, he gets whipped 40 times. And it's interesting that there's 40 days between the first day of Elul until Yom Kippur. And actually the Torah says not to whip him 40 times. The Talmud says it's 40 minus 1. And I think that's the same as with El Yom Kippur. It's 39 days, right? Not a total of 40 in the first day of El Yom Kippur. What's the idea of 39? Why 39? Torah says 40. Why 39? So the Rizal says that when Adam and Eve made the mistake with the sin of the tree of knowledge, so they were cursed 39 times. Adam got 10 curses, Eve got 10 curses, the snake got 10 curses, and the world, the earth, got 9 curses. So a total of 39. Nachmanides Ramban says that the Torah was given in 40 days, so if you've transgressed, gone against the Torah, you have to get whipped 40 times. That's why 39, why not 40? Tartzi says something amazing. Is when a Jew makes a mistake, you do an avera, right? You want to do something wrong. It doesn't always, it's not so symmetrical. It doesn't always come out to be a perfect avera. It's not a 10.0 avera. You could do an avera, do something wrong, but it's not 10.0. Why isn't it 10.0? The Hebrew word for a mistake is avon. Avon is crooked. So the previous episode says, why is a word for a mistake crooked? Because whenever a Jew does a mistake, it's not a perfect mistake. Our lousiness is a little lousy. We're lousy at being lousy. We can't make a perfect mistake. Whenever we ask someone who doesn't keep Shabbos, I say, why don't you keep Shabbos? He says, well, I can't not go to work. I have to go to work because I have to make a living. What do you mean you have to? I thought you don't believe in this stuff. No, it doesn't go that you say, I'm going to do an avera, I'm going to make a mistake, and I'm 100% into it, I don't care, and it's fine. There's always something about us that pulls us away from making a perfect avera. It's always like, there's a part of you which is like, I had to do it. Our avera is always a little bit screwed up. We can't do a good averas. So therefore you only get 39 lashes because you can't do the avera fully. There's another interesting teaching about this. The Ostrovtzer Rebbe, Meir Echil Ostrovtzer, and the great Goyen Reb Chaim Oizer, who is from one of the greater Torah geniuses from Vilna before the war and after the war. He was instrumental working together with Chabad Rebbeim in various communal activities. So they once had this discussion. And Reb Chaim Oizer is very impressed with this Hasidic Rebbe. He is from a different background, the Lithuanian Torah schools. And he is very, very impressed with Meir Echil Ostrovtzer. He says, you know what, Meir Echil, you are a Gavra Rabbah. Gavra Rabbah is a title the Talmud uses for a great man. You know, it's unbelievable what you're saying. You're a Gavra Rabbah. Wow, Gavra Rabbah, you're the guy. Meir Echil says, Rabbi Chaim Oizer, you don't know what the Talmud means when he uses that expression. The Talmud uses the expression Gavra Rabbah not to describe scholarship. The Talmud says this in Makot. The Talmud says this: how foolish are people who stand up in the presence of a Torah, and the Torah comes out, everyone stands up. They don't stand up in the presence of a Torah scholar. Why? Why is it foolish? Because the Torah says a person is supposed to get whipped 40 times, and yet the Talmud overrides the words of the Torah and says, no, only 39. Since the Talmud, those sages, are able to override a simple translation of the Torah, it tells you how great they are. Reb Chaim Oizer says, one second, why does the Talmud give that example? There are other examples of where the sages override the simple man translation of the Torah. For example, after Passover till the holiday of Shavuos, we count 49 days. What does it say in the Torah? How many days are you supposed to count? 50 days. So we interpret 50 means what makes 50. If you count 49, we have a whole interpretation of it. It's not the simple translation. Why isn't that the example given to show the greatness of the sages? They can interpret a verse not to be taken literally. So he said this. I'll tell you why. He says, what great makes you great is not scholarship. What makes you great is not to be able to interpret the Torah in a way that's remarkable, in a way that's innovative in a way that's contrary to the simple translation. What's greatness of Torah? Greatness in Torah is that you're sensitive to another person. You can feel their pain, like Hashem feels another person's pain, and therefore you make an effort to lessen their pain. And you make an effort, that person's supposed to get whipped 40 times? No. 39, take away a little bit of the pain. That's a Gavur Rabbah. A Gavur Rabbah is someone who's sensitive to another person's pain and does whatever they can, the person should have less pain. That's a Gavur Rabbah. So let's analyze this a little bit. Let's explain this. There was a great rabbi, a genius in our generation, one of the Rebbe's emissaries to Nashville, Tennessee, Rabbi Zalman Posner. He was once on the radio. He was being interviewed about this law about whipping. Someone says to Rabbi Posner on the radio, he's being interviewed, is how does it make sense? I'm eating a cheeseburger. What do you care what I eat? Why do I get whipped 39 times because I ate a cheeseburger? You eat what you want to eat, I'll eat what I want to eat. Why do you care? Why are you messing with me and hitting me because I'm eating a cheeseburger? It's not fair. Rabbi Posner says, listen, you have to understand the context of this. This doesn't always work so simply. For a person to get whipped is very, very rare. For example, when a person is about to eat a cheeseburger, in order for him to get whipped, he has to be warned. And not only has to be warned, if he doesn't respond when he's warned, you don't whip him. He has to be told 3 times. The guy has to acknowledge, yes, I know. He has to say, yes, I know exactly what you're saying. I know the consequence is I'm going to be whipped to eat the cheeseburger. I know this is real, and he has to eat it within 3 seconds. It takes more than 3 seconds. He takes a bite of the cheeseburger. Maybe he forgot. Maybe he didn't remember. The warning is invalid. So what kind of a person is going to eat a cheeseburger knowing he's going to get beaten up heavily just taking a bite of the cheeseburger? And not only that, he has to bring himself to incriminate himself and acknowledge and to say the right words in order to get whipped. What kind of person would do that? I mean, if you want to eat the cheeseburger and not get whipped, just simple, just don't respond to them. Why would he do it? Exactly. It's ridiculous. So, only a Meshugana would do it. Only, what's the word you used? Yeah. Only because someone who loves pain would do it. Said Reb Zalman Posner. The Torah says if you're out of your mind, you don't qualify, you don't get punished. Only someone out of their mind would do this, and if you're out of your mind, you don't get punished. So that's what he said. So Rebbe said this is not a complete answer. Never heard about what he had said. Rebbe said it's not a complete answer. Why is it not a complete answer? Not a complete answer because if there's a system, and a system that has one screw missing, it means the whole system is faulty. If there's a scenario where the person is supposed to get whipped for doing something which is you shouldn't get whipped for, that means the whole system is faulty. It means it shouldn't be. It doesn't make sense. The Rebbe said this. Let's take it at that time. The Apollo mission was successful, and Neil Armstrong, one small step for a man, one giant step for mankind. So all over the news. And Rebbe said, if you just consider this event, you'd understand the answer to this question. The astronaut could say to himself, what's the difference if I smoke a cigarette? It's my business. I'll smoke a cigarette. Who cares? You do what you do. I do. Me, I'll smoke a cigarette. But the truth is, it's absolutely ridiculous for the astronaut to think he can smoke a cigarette. Because not only will this endanger the lives of everyone on this mission, but the entire country invested billions of dollars in this mission. Not just the entire country in the present, but even till today, we all know that America was the first one to send a man to the moon in 1969. Yeah, 1969. We all know we did it. We're first. We're America. It affected the whole course of history. The whole course of history was affected by this mission. So this guy smoking a cigarette, he's not just endangering himself and the people on the crew that went with him. He is really going against the entire country. So in a similar way, the Rebbe said, you have to realize who the Jewish people are. The Jewish people are one people. And therefore, all of the mitzvot that were done by our parents and our grandparents and their parents, they all accumulate. They all add up. We are like a midget on top of giant shoulders. And all of the mitzvot they've done add and there's so much good in the world. The evil goes away because evil on Hamal's line through pain, or God forbid, or through teshuvah, evil doesn't last, but good is added. So we're all adding in good, every person, every bracha, every mitzvah, every baruch, every amen. You're adding something. The Jewish people are a great people, and they're heading towards Mashiach. So one good thought and word and action could tip the scale. So if a person knows about this and he doesn't pay attention to his role in the mission, and he says, I don't care about everyone else, it's a wonder that this guy only gets 39 lashes. Why doesn't he get more? He's doing something worse than this guy who's having the cigarette on the plane. As Rabbi Shalanter said, if someone doesn't concentrate in their prayers in Vilna, it causes people in France to desecrate Shabbos. We're all one people. But let me tell you a story. Nissim Engel, the rabbi of Cashapp Sefer, Shul in Crown Heights, the one who translated our Siddur, and Gesund and Stark, he sometimes share a story that he shared. It happened to someone he knew. Unbelievable story. It shows you, really highlights this idea. But before I tell you the story, I want to introduce the story with another story. Right? Why not? Today, this woman arrived over here, and she came to collect tzedakah, needed a place to stay, and I was having a hard time finding her a place to stay. I called Yankel and Shmerel and Beryl and Laser, and then someone texted me, "Hey, can someone say Kashapp for Mincha? For Mincha today?" I said, "Oh, someone could say Kashapp for Mincha, but by the way, can you host someone tonight?" And the guy's like, "Sure, I'll host someone tonight." How old is she? Made a joke, like as if it was. Anyways, bottom line is, yeah, Baruch Hashem, we're one people. We're one people. We realize it's sometimes more than other times, but that's a fact. We're one people, and we stick out for each other. When God Islam, we all know, we read the news of what happened in Israel this week. It bothers us very much, very deeply, what's going on in Israel. Why does it bother us? It's another country. It's a whole different society. No. It's our brothers, it's our sisters, it's our family. And Islam, it hurts. So what happens was like this. Rabbi Gel shared this. There's a guy whose wife was trying to have a baby, but the baby wasn't coming out, and he called the Rebbe's office, and later that night, Baruch Hashem, his wife had a baby. So next morning, it was very late at night, calls up the Rebbe's office, and he tells the Rebbe's secretary that Baruch Hashem's wife had a baby. So the Rebbe asked the secretary, "Can you find out what time the baby was born?" He said, "Okay." He calls up the guy, "What time is the baby born?" The guy's secretary said, the guy says, the father says it was born at 4 o'clock in the morning. So the Rebbe hears this. The Rebbe said, "Can you check if it was maybe born at 3:30? The hospital has a record. What do you mean? So he called up and he found out that indeed the nurse till the nurse got back into her mojo and be able to write things down, whatever. It was a half hour. So she wrote down 4 o'clock. What's the difference? Why? Why did Rebbe say it happened at 3:30? Because Rebbe said I couldn't fall asleep until 3:30. I couldn't fall asleep until 3:30. The Rebbe can't fall asleep. This woman's giving birth. The Rebbe can't fall asleep until she gave birth. Apparently, the Rebbe wanted the doctor to know this, because the doctor had to also hear this. He had to also know what it means what a Rebbe is and what caring means. Anyways, so it says in the Torah that when we got the Torah, we were like one person with one heart. The Torah uses another expression. We were like, the Torah says that when the Egyptians chased after us to try to kill us, they were like one heart, like one person. What's the difference between one man with one heart and one heart like one person? I saw a line today. I know where I saw it. There's a difference between saying, "I love you because you're beautiful," or "Because I love you because you're beautiful," or "Because I love you, you're beautiful." Either I love you because you're beautiful, or because I love you, you're beautiful. When the Jews are like one man, because we're brothers, so automatically the love comes because we're all one. But it's when Paro paid off his people to chase after the Jewish people, they all wanted to get paid. So they all joined, let's go run after the Jews. They all said, well, because we want the money, we'll go run after the Jews. So their unity wasn't a real unity. Their unity was based on what? It was based on their love for getting paid by Pare. So we are like one man. Because we're like one man, we have one heart. It's not like Lahavdil, like the Egyptians running after us, because of their interest. Their interest puts them together, and they decide to join together to attack us. It's a whole different thing. Halacha says this. Vitaly just arrived, and Vitaly is saying a bracha, and let's say he's not sure, he could say, let's say Halacha says that you can make a bracha for someone else. Why can't you make a bracha for someone else? You are doing a mitzvah in Kiddush, make a bracha for someone else. How does it work? You already heard Kiddush. Other guy didn't hear Kiddush. You could say a bracha for them. How can you make a bracha for them?
Another sword.
So it says in the Gemara, because all the Jewish people are arevim zebazeh. What's arevim zebazeh mean? 3 translations. Simple translations are we're responsible for each other. Your mitzvah, it's my mitzvah. You don't have a mitzvah. I have a mitzvah for you. It's your mitzvah, it's my mitzvah. Number 2, says the previous Rebbe, all the Jewish people, arevim also means mu'uravim. They're mixed with each other. Your soul's my soul. A part of my soul is in you. So you're missing a mitzvah, I'm missing a mitzvah. And because of this, says the previous Rebbe, because we are all have a part of each other inside of each other, that's why we all get along. We all find a sweetness. You all find when you're in the middle of nowhere, you meet a Jew, it's zis, it's geschmack. Where does that sweetness come from? It comes from because there's a part of the other person in you. So, I want to share an amazing thing I learned today. Unbelievable thing. Unbelievable. It says in the Talmud, in Pirkei Avos, it says, anybody who causes a community, causes a rabbim, causes a lot of people to do a mitzvah, he'll never sin. He'll never make a mistake. Ein chet bala yodeh. What does that mean, he'll make a mistake? He loses his free choice, he loses his free will. Kol mezakes harabim. And also, what does it mean, a rabbim? How many people do you have to do this for? How many people do you have to help to do a mitzvah so you get this distinction that Hashem will prevent you from making mistakes? How many people do you have to help? The answer is this. Unbelievable. It doesn't say a number. It has to do with the fact that you're not looking at another person as, oh, he's my friend, therefore I'm going to help him. You look at, there's a word a lot of our young people here use, random. I'll do it for, there's a random guy. Random. Oh. If you're into the random people, then why are you into them? They're random. You have your friends. You have your people you get along with. Why are you helping the randos? Where does it come from? It's because you look at the other person, you say, this is my brother. Not because of what they do, but because they're Jewish. So if you're helping people because they're Jewish, what does it say about you? What is about you is looking at them? What are you using to see them? You're using your neshama. In order to see good in everyone, there's some people which are, it's not easy to do this for some people. It's not easy for me to do this. Some people walk around, they smile at everybody. They smile at everybody. They smile at everybody in a way that you feel like there's something wrong with them. Are they weird? Why are they smiling at me like that, right? But it's not a bad thing. It's a very good thing. What makes you smile at everybody? Because you look at everybody. You have this great chassidus. You see good in everybody. You smile at everybody. Where does it come from? Why are you smiling at everybody? Why are you smiling? Everybody you smile at. Everyone's nice. Everyone's wonderful. Because you're not smiling because of any specific virtue in them. You smile because it's another brother. It's my brother. It's my sister. You feel good. Another Jew. So what about you is looking at them? What part of you is looking at them? Your neshama. In order to be able to see in other person their soul, you have to look. You can only see soul with soul. You can only see soul if you're using soul. You can't see soul if you're using body. So when a person's trying to help everybody do a mitzvah, what does it say about the person? It says about him that he is looking for soul. That's what the Gemara means. You'll never make a mistake. 2 explanations. One explanation is, mistakes you make on purpose. But accidental mistakes, Hashem will hold you back. Hashem will not let you make these mistakes. Because since you're touching your soul, you won't make these mistakes. Another explanation is this. Sometimes someone could get you angry. And you don't even realize you already went 4 steps ahead before you could think. Hashem holds you back. It's not true that you don't have free will. It says in Talmud, it says in Tanya, the mind controls the heart. But sometimes it's a little harder than others. And if you're trying to help people, and it's random, doesn't matter who they are, so Hashem puts you in touch with your neshama, and you don't make those kind of mistakes. It's so easy to make mistakes and insult people. There was one speaker, he spoke so well. Someone says to him, "Ata shiur shecha chaval al hazman." What's chaval al hazman mean? Chaval al hazman, as Israeli slang means, it literally means it's a waste of time. But it doesn't mean a waste of time. It means it's a waste of time to explain to you how great it was. It was so, I can't tell you how great it was. It's impossible. But the guy was insulted. So easy. So the Mishnah says, how do you be in the state of not making this mistake? By looking to help random people. There was a great tzaddik, his name was Dubna Magid. Whatever he said, he had a parable for it. He said he gave the following parable. Yankel's making a chasana. Yankel's making a wedding. And all the brothers are coming to Yankel's making this special event. And all of his sons are coming to this special event, this wedding of the youngest son. And one of the brothers was poor. Laser doesn't have a tuxedo for the wedding. Doesn't have a kapota. Doesn't have the right clothing. So Laser says, Beryl, went out with a tuxedo, went out with a kapot. You'll be okay. No one cares. He has Shmerel, he has Zalman, he has Chaim. The father at the wedding, he gives a gift to this brother, this poor brother. Everyone else got a half of a gift. It was like I only got this lousy T-shirt kind of gift. You know what I'm talking about? So the other brother's like, Dad, what happened? He says, you don't understand. This is if this is my celebration, it's my celebration because you're my children. That's what the celebration is about. If he's not your brother, I'm not your father. So this is the difference between the B'ditchever Rebbe, Rabbi Zusha of Anipoli, and the Baal Shem Tov. B'ditchever Rebbe, when he would see someone eat on Yom Kippur, what would B'ditchever Rebbe say when he saw someone eat on Yom Kippur? You go over to the guy and say, do you know today's Yom Kippur? He says, yes, it's Yom Kippur. Do you know that you're not supposed to eat on Yom Kippur? No, you're not supposed to eat on Yom Kippur. Do you know the Torah says you eat on Yom Kippur? I know it all. I don't care. B'ditchever Rebbe turned to Hashem. Look at this amazing Jew. He's so honest, emes, truth. Look at your children, so true. Reb Zusha had a whole different way. Reb Zusha, he wouldn't see the guy. Reb Zusha wouldn't see the evil in the first place. Reb Zusha look at the guy. He was like, "He's not eating on Yom Kippur. What are you talking about?" He wouldn't see it even. He wouldn't see the mistake. Baal Shem Tov, Reb Zusha, and the B'ditchever Rebbe, they looked around the guy's mistake. They looked around it. The mistake is a mistake. They tried to find the good in the person. How can we explain his mistake as being okay? They're trying to explain the actions as being okay. Baal Shem Tov is a whole different thing. Baal Shem Tov, his path is, as the Alter Rebbe taught, Achim Mamish, we're all literally brothers. Forget about the mistakes. Doesn't matter the mistakes. Not because your mistake is not such a mistake. Your mistake is a full mistake. Well, as much full as it can get, as we said before. But it doesn't matter because you're my brother anyways. And that's not because your mistake isn't so bad. It's because we're brothers. Baal Shem Tov saw in every Jew the deepest essence. And that's the meaning of the 39 lashes. The Maharal says this. Maharal says in the Talmud that every major transition is with 40. 40 days of the flood, 40 years in the desert, 40 years before a baby is born, a baskol, a voice comes out from heaven and says, Yisraelik is going to marry Shprinze, and Shaul is going to marry Malka. The announcement is made 40 years before the baby is born. Maharal says, why 40? Maharal says every person has in them 40 parts. There are 40 parts in every person. 40 parts. Everyone has 40 parts. All right. What's the 40 parts? 39 parts are the physical. The 40th part is the soul, is the spiritual, is the holiness. When you make a mistake, Maharal says, you don't just contaminate the body, you're also hurting, you're also messing up the godly part in you, the soul, the holy part of you. But when the person is whipped 39 times, when the person goes through something that takes away the negativity, Hashem can do other things to take away the negativity, it doesn't have to be through whipping. What happens is you discover the best part of the person is still there. You don't need to have 40 lashes. You just need to take away the negative. There's something that's the essence of the Jew is holy. You only need 39 to take away the negative, but the 40th is good. That's also interesting in the laws of Shabbos, a similar thing. Laws of Shabbos, I mentioned before that there's 39 curses that Adam got, and so too on Shabbos it says there are 40 things you can't do minus one. What does that mean? You look at the 39 things you can't do on Shabbos, 10 of them are addressing man. The first 10 are about food for man. The next 10 are about weaving and sewing. That's things which are associated more with women. Then there are another 10 have to do with things made from animals, combing and the animal hide, etc. And then the last 9 are about the building on the ground. Like we said before about the 39 curses that Adam got. 10 for him, 10 for his wife, and 10 for the snake, and 9 for the world. So the 40 things we cannot do on Shabbos, minus 1. What's the minus 1? There's one thing we could do on Shabbos. You can't do 40 things minus 1. What's the one thing you could do? On Shabbos, supposed to serve Hashem. On Shabbos, you have the essence of what you're here in the world for. You only have, during the whole week also, whatever you're doing is part of serving Hashem. But on Shabbos, it's exposed. On Shabbos, in short, it's revealed, as we say in Kiddush on Shabbos, v'rotza bon. What does it mean on Shabbos? The last thing, I'll leave you guys with this. It's already it's already late at night. Let me just say one more point to let you guys go. On Shabbos we make Kiddush. We say v'rotza bonu. We say Hashem desires us. What does it mean He desires us? So it says in chassidus, on Shabbos we feel the desire in our neshama to come close to Hashem that's beyond logic and reason. That desire that's in us, we feel it's banu, it's inside of us in a way that's very tangible. The whole week we get lost in all kinds of things, we get distracted. On Shabbos v'rotza, our desire to go close to Hashem, banu, not just God desires us, our desire to go close to Hashem is banu, it's animated, it's alive, we feel it. V'rotza, this desire to go close to Hashem is banu inside us. So at this time of the year, before Shoshana, the El, the king is in the field, the Eibusha gives us the ability to let go of our differences, to forgive other people that have wronged us, to look at each other and to realize that we're all in this together, and we're all part of the Jewish people. We're all part of the dream of the coming Mashiach. We're all citizens of the future, and we're all part of the Shabbos. What's Shabbos? Shabbos are boim chosar achas. Shabbos is the perfection of the world, the perfection of the sin of the tree of knowledge, and the perfection of all of the negativity that's accumulated, that being removed, and are celebrating with the Eibishter, with the coming of Mashiach. The ultimate Shabbos that lasts forever. L'chaim, l'chaim, v'racha.